Hey, I do not like that clapping. What's going on, everybody? I'm gonna get a new clap for this at some point.
You're supposed to gradually roll it out. You can't just cut it.
No, I don't have that option. This is on the Streamlabs side.
Dare you?
Yeah,
How
get out
dare
of
you?
here. But welcome to the Iron Seas. Kahuna obviously is late again because it's Kahuna.
Hawaiian time.
We're joined today with Flip City Magazine, which I was on that show last week, and I'm gonna see you again tomorrow. That's too many times. But yeah, we got a show for you guys tonight.
There you go.
We watched Indian in the Cupboard, and then we're gonna talk about some story writing things like we usually do. Can't hear us, Kristen?
The intro I could hear perfectly fine, and then we came live, and you guys all disappeared.
Oh no! Oh, what browser are you on?
That was the other thing. I was coming in on Firefox originally. By the way, I was 10 minutes early, you guys. I was not late. I switched browsers. I'm on Chrome now, and but I hear you guys through my speakers right now. And if it's not feeding back, I guess that's how we do it.
It's all good. We can hear you clear. Yeah, Streamlabs does not work with Firefox.
I mean, it tries, but it doesn't work well.
You're a freeze frame 90% of the time.
Sometimes you get funny freeze frames, though, so that's entertaining.
Yeah. How you doing? How you been, Christy? What's going on?
I'm fantastic. I'm super excited to be here, but also felt kind of bad after watching Indian in the Cupboard, right? I was like, I was being a little baby about, what was that? The Mel Gibson one?
Apocalypto?
Yeah, that was directed by Mel Gibson, right?
Yeah, I hear it's a bit of a downer.
Oh yeah, it really is. But after watching Indian in the Cupboard, I'm like, dude, I would have gotten more enjoyment out of Apocalypto. It's hard in my heart, but it's a great film. You know, I watch Indian in the Cupboard. I'm like, I feel like a little bitch now.
Yeah. A.C Pritchard, how you doing? How you been?
I've been great. Working hard on releasing a thing after Thanksgiving here, an album, and just chilling. I got one of the thumbnails here. Here's a sneak peek for everybody. This is for the song. This is for the song Red Rum on that album. So
does it have to do with Naruto? Are they casting their Sharingan on the moon?
No.
Weebs know what I'm talking about.
Do they say Red Rum? It doesn't have anything to do with The Shining either.
AC, I don't know if you know this, but do you know what that word, if you spell it backwards, do you know what that spells?
Bro.
Dude. You know what I need? I'm like, we have so many Wayne's World clips, and I'm like, we don't have the one of them being like, oh
yeah, we need to work. We need that. We don't just like, it's not a good idea. We need that. We gotta make that happen.
Yeah, no, definitely. Emily, how you been? How you doing?
Oh man. Oh wait, I can't say I'm tired. I'm great. I have high energy. Everything's rolling. You see him look off to the screen where I said that. He's like, God damn it. I'm doing good. We came off the heels, man. We've had a busy week. We talked about Brendan Sanderson's book, the name doesn't matter because it was garbage. But then we also talked about this little comic right here, which is fantastic. So that was awesome. In addition, one thing I keep forgetting to talk about, me and Chill Kid, we're trying to give this thing away here in the upcoming future. This is the pick that was used to record my contribution on an anti-hero to Save You, and we're gonna sign it. It's got the lyrics on the back and the pics in there. And I don't know what that noise was. Was that a jet taking off?
It was a gasp.
Oh yeah, I know, right? And also, boys, did you see?
Hey, let me refresh it.
What we did?
Oh yeah, that was me.
100 subs. Hey!
We did it. Pack it in.
We can all finally
great
come out
ride,
of the cupboard.
everybody. We made it. So yeah, man, I'm doing good.
I always love being the one that gets to get somebody to a goal. I'm like, yes.
Thank you. Seriously, genuinely, thank you. My eye has been like this, like for the past like weeks. They were like 98. I'm like, somebody's like sent all over Twitter, and we already have everybody. I'm like, so thank you. My eye can stop twitching now, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're gonna lose one tomorrow.
No,
it's just how it works.
No. Table.
No, I mean, we got an orc video coming out on the Iron Seas, which that's why I'm saying we're probably gonna lose this up whenever we release a video. We had a discussion about orcs being evil, or should they? Are they? I don't know. So that'll be looking. You can look out for that tomorrow on my own channel. I just did a channel or a video talking about necromancers and storytelling. So look out for that on my channel, Battsauce. That's really close to 500 or 450 subs. Check that out. And
Noise.
what else was I gonna say? We got other things going on. Oh, yeah, I got a book out which you should definitely buy. The word's getting out there. It's bettering a lot of lives. But then there's also people like Vaughn Coleman. That bastard. That bastard Vaughn Coleman.
He ruined your car. What a jerk.
He ruined my car. That son of a bitch wrote a comic, and now I don't have a usable car anymore. So I will get my revenge on Vaughn Coleman.
Good.
I will. Was that really loud? I tried.
It was good. It was loud, but it was loud from a distance, so it was perfect. It was exactly what you're going for.
Damn you, Vaughn Coleman!
I can get behind this rivalry.
I also like you screaming at the back of the bus is kind of fun. Scream at that emergency exit.
I'm screaming at the retards.
You need to put Vaughn in one. You got to put Vaughn in one of the windows peeking in every time you talk about it.
That. Yes, and you haven't had anybody in your bus in a while here.
I got so many things going on. It's just one more thing to like add to it, and it's
just
like
a sad bus. It's a sad bus.
I know. I'll bring it back. I'll bring it back. But hey, guys, things to come in the future, which not ready yet, but we have things coming.
What kind of things do we have coming?
I really shouldn't say things coming and then drink milk. That doesn't look right.
You should do that way more often.
I didn't think that, but now I can't not think that.
Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah. I get the comments all the time, so it's just
I missed it. So
all the time.
All right. Well, let me say hi to the chat. Let me trying to manage. All right, we got a few people here. We have this loser. This loser right here.
I feel like I know that guy.
Prophet, I believe. A prophet. We have this cool person, which number 100. Let's go.
Yes.
This person definitely a gay, which is fine.
Oh.
We don't discriminate.
How dare you?
We have Brian McCoppin, ahoy, and a vast. Sure. What's up, dude? Tim McKay lowering the T levels as usual. What's up, man? Evening. Daniel P. Riley. Hello, Scuttlebutts. Hail, Christy. Cool. Well, we're more important. Sorry, Christy. Let's see. And that's about it. We, and then there's our own channel saying, let me in, forget. Wait, it didn't tell me you're here.
That must be.
You son of a gun. I'm sitting here looking at you like, I think that's it. Hey, Christy, how's it going? Oh, good. Oh, AC, I like your background, man. I mean, you're kind of fading in and out of it, but I approve.
That works,
makes
man.
it fun, man.
I kind of like the fade, to be honest.
It's cool. Yeah.
I'm ethereal.
He's like, I'm faded and I'm fading. It's a whole circle. We don't. Yeah.
Is he a man or is he an idea? He's halfway in between the cupboard unlocking and unlocking right now.
It's one of those cycles of the apocalypse. You know what I mean?
All right, Kahuna, how you doing? How you been?
Oh, just fine, man. Just fine. Trying to take care of kids and nonsense. And yeah, no, really, really good, man. Really, really good. Trying to figure out why YouTube is nuking a bunch of my videos right now.
Yeah.
Talked to a few other people. It's been happening to a few other people as well. So it's not just me, unfortunately. But yeah,
it's weird out there, dude. My algorithm is jacked. Like
even for recommended videos,
weird.
It's been weird too.
Yeah. It's super, super weird.
Yeah, we'll just wait till YouTube figures it out, I guess. This is
that's how it's always been with YouTube. It's like, well, I'm boned for a while. Thank you, YouTube.
Yeah. Well, good thing we're a really small channel. It doesn't really matter too much for us. But
I'm not for my individual channel. It does. Anyway, no, it's just fine.
But all right, this week we watched Indian in the Cupboard. Evelyn, give us a rundown.
You want to say that title one more time, my friend?
Yeah, Indian in the Cupboard.
Oh, you're frozen again. What browser are you using?
Me?
Oh,
Yeah.
you're back.
I'm cool.
Now, Christy, have you seen it?
Oh wait, I'm in the wrong browser.
Yeah, I found
Just
it.
runs
I
on
found
Firefox.
it streaming free on Facebook.
Oh,
Oh,
what? You can
damn.
watch movies on Facebook?
Yeah. What?
I don't know. I Googled it and it brought up a Facebook post. And I was like, yes. Because I did not want to pay for that.
Thanks, Zuck. You
No.
got one right. There you go.
Plus
No,
one to the suck.
because their bedtime was too early. I wasn't able to rewatch it with my kids, but I think they've
Oh.
seen it before, so it works out. But
Mm.
All
yes,
right, all right.
very happy to rewatch this film.
Justin, give us the rundown and then switch to the correct tab.
Okay. So we watched Indian in the sorry, Native American in the cupboard. Sorry, Indian
Engine.
in the cupboard, as it's called, from I think it's 1995. So I know, Kahuna, you were negative 1,000. We all know you were negative 50. We get it. So it's from 1995, and the summary on this one: on his birthday, Omri, not Henri, not Henry, Omri, played by a Hal Scardino. He's given several simple gifts, or so you think, including an old wooden cupboard and a small plastic figurine of a Native American man. When he locks he's a man. Look at them tattoos. When he locks the toy inside the cabinet, look real closely, zoom in. When he locks the toy inside the cabinet, it magically comes to life as a tiny cagey warrior named Little Bear, played by Lightfoot. The boy then places other toys in the cupboard, and they come to life too. Goodness. Even engaging in entertaining battles. But after Little Bear is wounded, oh no, Omri begins to understand that his animate toys, they're not mere playthings. This is starring Hal Scardino, who that's a household name at this point. Lightfoot, Dr. Robert Doback from Step Brothers, Steve Coogan. This had a budget of $45 million, and it made a staggering $35 million. Definitely definitely a box office.
Dang,
Floated like a buoy at the box office.
I was gonna
Like
say
that.
that. I was gonna say that some of the special effects were pretty good. No wonder they spent a lot of money on it.
Yeah, yeah.
And that is the rundown.
I will
BRB.
say, you said Lightfoot, and he's credited as Lightfoot, but the dude's name is Gary.
What? Gary Lightfoot?
No, it's
I used to
it's
stare
Gary
at that
something
kid.
other. He has like a normal white person name, you know. Oh, you had to leave because, dude, I love this movie as a kid. I didn't really remember much at all about it. I just remember really loving it. Watched it a lot when I was younger, but yeah, it was nice to get like fresh eyes on this again.
Yeah, no,
so-
I like it. Doesn't hold up to everything, but it was from my childhood, and there's nostalgia there, and I really enjoyed it. So it works out, man.
I'm back.
I would say
You're back.
We're back.
See
I
you.
would say it's not perfect. It holds up in a lot of ways, surprisingly. Like
It
you
does
said,
well a lot better than some other movies from my childhood. I'll say that. Like some of those movies I rewatch, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
children. This is not. This ain't it, folks.
but the effects were actually awesome. Like when the kid pulls a bullet off of his face, I actually felt like he did that. That was kind of cool. You know, like, and they didn't even show anything, just the way he did it. I don't know.
I feel like even a tiny bullet would have gotten a little bit
Something,
more.
something, yeah.
Yeah, but there's a tiny amount of gunpowder, though. So
That's true.
Oh, interesting.
projection's
All right,
weaker.
getting the science in here.
Gunpowder. Yep.
yeah, maybe use your brain
we need-
for once, Justin.
I can't. We need to bring back
That
Mythbusters.
says
I've
the
never used a
commander
tiny
of the
amount of
short
gunpowder. I
bus.
don't know.
All right.
Yeah, maybe a tiny amount is all you need. Think about it.
A
Right.
little bit of
Yeah.
gunpowder.
Anyone else get like
is all
tired
you
of the
need.
long drawn shots of the main character's face? Just
Yes. He's a funky little looking guy.
Yeah.
His eye. I love this movie, but his eyes are in different area codes, man. They are. Yeah, like we all make fun of the chick from what was it? The new Snow White movie. That woman, or no, Ariel from the new whatchamacallit, Little Mermaid, Disney's Little Mermaid, because her eyes are like looking like this. Like I'm like, yeah, she looks like a fish. No wonder.
I didn't notice about him. I just thought he had nice blue eyes. His teeth were all over the place, though.
Yeah. It was more
this
the
guy's got everything going on.
I hope he did well off of this movie. I just don't imagine that he did well after this, but maybe we'll see.
Yeah. I don't
Well,
think
whenever
he
you
did.
pull up his credits, the picture of him from this movie is like the picture that pops up. So I think that was
Bad
this might have
sign.
been-
Bad sign.
And his buddy too, also short-lived careers. It might have been the fact that this movie lost $10 million. That might have been something to do with it.
I remember back when losing $10 million was a huge deal, and now
Yeah, that's
movies are
like-
losing hundreds of millions of dollars, and it's just
That's like the
it's
equivalent.
one of those things.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The pet rat. Why in New York City do you have a pet rat?
That makes sense.
Well, you see him every
rat.
day.
Yeah.
You want a domesticated one, man. That's
The
why.
rat, the rat never has to go outside. Like it just runs around in that ball. It's a perfect thing for New York.
There's a
Throw it
point.
down the stairs. It's fine.
He eats it like
Don't
hard.
feed him.
Hey,
My
Oh,
wife hated that.
and
Put his soul
Poor
into
rat.
that.
I don't know what they were going for because there's some people are going to be like, "Oh no, like he's like, why would he kick the rat like that? That's ridiculous." But then other people like me are like, "Good, stomp the thing out. You shouldn't have why
Why
like
would
having
you have a
cockroaches
rat
as a
as a
pet."
pet? Yeah.
They can be sweet. You know, they're all right. They're kind of cool.
No, Justin. This is one of those things where you're wrong. No, they are not sweet. They are ugly little creatures.
A rat?
it-
No. My
Now
friend
a
had a rat.
squirrel, completely different. It's the same
name was
thing with a
Winston.
bushy tail, and that's completely different. So
Squirrels are a little bit more wiry. They're a little bit more wild. Rats can be a little bit more affectionate. Squirrels are a little bit more like.
have you had a pet rat?
My buddy did. Its name was Winston.
Okay. I knew
My
it.
sister had a pet rat.
I
Yeah,
had one.
he was cool.
Yeah.
I was
And
afraid
he
of it. And
lasted
then
the
it was actually
longest. I
cool.
mean, if you compare his life to all of our hamsters that we had growing up, the
Oh,
rat
really?
lasted the longest. But it was really gross because he had giant balls.
Yep, they do.
They do have that. And it's
They
not,
do
it's
have
not
balls.
great. But they're like loud. They need you to know that they have them. They really show them off. It's not
They
like
drag them off everywhere, and it's
They're like, oh, what are you doing this morning?
oops.
They're always laying like this and looking at you and pointing.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
Rat comes out. Ah, no. Anyway,
Smug.
They always walk at you at back end first. Like, come on, man. What are you doing? And look over their shoulder and bite their.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I thought the rat was perfect though to be the dragon inside the cave. For those who are familiar with the hero's
yeah,
journey.
I actually
That's
agree.
agrees,
I was
I
going to
guess.
bring that point up.
It was
too.
perfect. And all they did was have all they did was set up something under the floorboards that the rat would run through so that the camera could just quickly pick it up on that part with the hole in it. So all the rat did was run by, but what they did with the sound and the tension that they built up before that, it was like
The
It actually
score,
made-
the score
Dude.
helped as well. The
Yeah.
score was
I-
really good in this movie.
Jumped.
So funny.
yep, my
When
wife
that
did too.
rat jumped out, I
Yeah.
legit like, oh shit!
Yeah.
And like my wife was looking at me, I'm like,
Oh.
it spooked me.
Yeah, it's
Did
it's
your
always-
wife
look
make fun
everywhere.
of you? If she didn't, I'm going to scold her.
Yeah, I probably did. Probably
Most
phased out.
likely, most likely.
Yeah.
And actually, there was 9 different rats that were used on the set. It's Milo and Otis, the waterfall scene with the kittens. It was like that.
Oh no.
No, I made that up.
Yeah. Probably one rat died in
I
that.
didn't remember that from that movie. I'm like,
Hamster
The
rat.
rat's fine. He's backstage. He's having like a biscuit. He's fine.
Yeah, that's they put a
he
real
has his
rat
head
in
between
that-
his
in that
legs,
ball.
resting his arms on his giant balls, and just.
They're like, we need this scene as convincing as possible. So grab the third rat. We got to reshoot the scene with the ball. All right.
Actually, to build tension, the giant balls could have been used in that sense. It's the dragon. It's like, oh no, what is that? Oh!
No, what they did, the rat, it died, and they took it out of the ball. They put it in the cupboard, and they locked it, and then unlocked it, so it's plastic, and then just redid it, so it reanimated it,
Yes.
and it was good to go.
That's how it works. Yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
very
the
different film.
cupboard is real, boys. I don't know if you knew this. It works. It's a real thing. It's an artifact.
Oh, but
that's
yeah,
why
no.
I
What do you guys think? What did not work in this movie for you? What 'cause I think we were. Oh boy.
Should
Let's
I go
start with our
first?
guess. No, let's
Okay.
start with our guess. Christy, what did not work for you in this movie?
What didn't work for me? Well, it was interesting. What was interesting to me is how stupid kids are.
Oh,
They're stupid little fucks, and they made
They
a lot
are.
of really bad decisions. Like
are adults different?
huh?
Are adults different?
You got to start somewhere, Kahuna. You
That's-
dumb
I
kid,
guess
dumb
not.
adult.
I guess
Usually
not.
it's like we don't all make it.
Don't start with me. I want to hear what you guys have to say.
All right.
Justin, you're you're chomping at the bit here. Let's get at it, man. Rip apart my childhood. Go.
No, I watched this as a kid too, and I think that's the thing. I think little, younger kids, maybe not little, but younger kids, I think they watch it and get some enjoyment out of it. As an adult, it's a little bit more work. The acting in it was rough. The kid being like, "Oh, hello, you're an Indian? Oh my god!"
Yo,
Like,
his acting's
no,
when
bad.
his buddy was wait, was his buddy Indian
project.
or Arabic? What was his buddy? Where is
I don't know.
his best friend? Was he?
Yeah.
What was he?
Are you talking about Big Heart?
He was a proper Indian.
Yeah.
I'm
No, not the engine. His best friend, his buddy who came over.
Yeah, he was a proper Indian.
Oh no, Red Dot.
Oh, an actual Indian. I thought.
Yeah.
He was. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Totally on purpose.
Well,
Totally on purpose.
you want to know what didn't work for me?
No.
Patrick, the friend, was such a
Dude.
fucking asshole, dude. Like the entire time, like I want to punch this kid, like so bad.
I like when he leaves.
Such a
Like,
shit
don't,
friend.
he's like, don't do it, Patrick. And Patrick's just like, I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it because I'm a fucking asshole.
Yeah, he wasn't a very good friend. I mean, they seemed like they were, but yeah.
I think he was valuable for the sake of comparison, because part of
Yes.
what the main character is going through in this is it's that thing where you give a younger child responsibility and it helps them more than whatever they're doing helps someone else.
Yeah.
It's about the idea of growing up and like taking responsibility. And his friend is a little shithead who couldn't do that. Obviously, he wasn't ready for that. But
Well, maybe he learned too. We need to see the movie from his perspective, and maybe him pulling the guys out of his little fanny pack to show the teacher. Maybe that
Oh my
changed
God.
his maturity course too. We don't know. We didn't get that information, but it might have changed him too. We just don't know.
the acting in that scene is good. Like that kid is acting just like my kids when they're having a dumb argument about something that's so unimportant.
Yeah.
That part was good too, because the main dude, instead of talking like this, he actually just like projected a little bit like a normal human that isn't going.
That was his face the
Ugh,
entire movie,
why?
practically.
And that might be a direction issue, but man, it was that drove me crazy. And part and parcel. Oh, there you go. Part and parcel with that. Anybody's find any pacing issues with this one? Just me?
Pacing issues. Yeah.
It was it was funnier and much more dramatic than I remembered.
Funnier.
I didn't
Really?
I
was
didn't
funnier,
remember
yeah.
it was funnier than I remembered. That doesn't mean it's a comedy, but it's funnier than I remembered it being.
Oh.
Yeah, I think the dialogue, the drastic difference between acceptable dialogue back in the 90s versus now. Like, just listen to, a hillbilly cowboy being like, what's that, an engine? Love it. Love it.
Pretty great.
The total
The
lack
British
of
medic, fantastic.
Fantastic. All the little characters in
Cowboy
the
just being
vacuum,
a
man.
big crybaby. Like his acting was something. Like they're just I don't know. He made me chuckle. It was so over the top, and like, this is ridiculous, but I'm kind of here for it.
Yeah.
But I think the criticisms you mentioned, Evely, I think it's going to be there for most people. I don't think I have any other different criticisms over it.
So I was hoping somebody could clarify, because I actually spread the watching of this out over 3 days, watching like 30 minutes at a time, like cooking dinner and shit, because I'm like, I'm not like really paying that much attention.
Mm-hmm.
I need this clarified. So at the end with the rat, when they go in the floorboard and everything, why did Omri send the Indian down there with the loose rat to go down
Because kids are
into
dumb.
danger?
To get the key.
To get the key.
And that couldn't wait.
No, because
No.
the cowboy guy was hurt. That's why.
Yeah. The cowboy was hit with an
Alright.
arrow. And they need to
But
get the
like,
medic.
hey, if we could freeze him or get a medic, then we can fix this situation.
But
And I love that they brought the medic back, and he's just like, this is another weird dream, I guess. All right.
I agree. I agree with you on the point, though, Flip City, because I'm over here like, I know this kid has heard his brother talk about how rats can shoot through everything, and this thing can just eat anything. So like that little Indian guy was like just a little snack. That's why I said it's just like a perfect monster in the cave moment. As far as the
right.
writing
And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, does he
had
have
to-
his
he had to
teeny
face the
tiny
dragon,
knife that's
yeah.
not going to do anything to
goes.
the rat?
Nothing. It won't do
And-
anything.
But they made sure that when the cowboy and Indian were riding in the little fanny pack to walk really slow, like don't
Yeah.
jostle them in there.
There was a
That's really
surprising
dangerous.
attention to detail.
Yeah, there was. I do. There is it. It wasn't a problem as a kid, but as an adult, I see it being a bit more of a problem. It has to do with the pacing. It's not really a driving plot. It's not like puddle. It's not like a train, like chug. Let's get through this kind of thing. It's very meandering. It's kind of about discovery and learning. It's not. It's very much more about it's more like a character study than an actual plot. Am I wrong?
Well,
No,
the
you're dead
pacing
on.
issues. The pacing issues come from all those long scenes of him.
Yep.
It reminded me of a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie where the movie's only about 40 minutes, but you throw in the slow-mo and it's an hour and a half. Except this didn't have the slow-mo in the fights. It was just lingering shots. It's like, why are these so long?
Very
watching
close-up shots of the boy. Yeah.
I watched it in 1.5x, and those shots still felt long.
I can believe that. Yeah.
And you were talking about the music being something you enjoyed. To me, it was those slow shots, the music, it was so like in your face. So like, oh no, this
It was
shot
really loud.
doing like
Yeah.
quick music, and the music like is doing all this crazy stuff. I'm like, this is not like everything is just this mashup of it. Just the music didn't land with me at all because of that. It was just it didn't gel. And clearly I'm not alone in that because
No gelling, dude.
gelling,
bro.
bro. It wasn't any
Bro,
gelling
you-
going
you
on.
wanna
Wait for
gel?
the gel.
That looks weird on camera. All right.
Yeah. Well, let's
Let's
get to the good of the movie because I think there's a lot there.
I
First
agree.
and foremost is dick tattoos. Fantastic
First and foremost.
art dick tattoos.
Christy, you did. Did someone share?
Caroline
with
pointed
you?
that out.
There's a
So is
tattoo.
well, he's supposed to be bear paws on his shoulders, which I thought they were supposed to be dream catchers. Then
I'm
she's like,
looking this up right now.
no, they're bear
Whoa.
paws.
Whoa.
And then she's like, but they look like dicks. And I'm like, oh my god.
Of course, your wife noticed that. That's great.
Mine was the one that noticed it too. Weird.
Oh, that's
funny.
true.
Yeah.
Leave it to the women to spot the penises. Who knows?
But it was so badly done. It was like, come on, man, fix it up a little bit.
Those are big bear paws. Anyway.
The
But
best
no,
part is
that-
I didn't notice until the end of the movie. Like it was at the big like, oh, everything's happy and it's a good end. Like, oh, everything's good. It's the ending. It's resolving. And then she's just like, those are some. That's like a big dick tattoo on his side. And then we just both started laughing. It was like the best moment to realize it.
Well,
at the emotional climax of the film, yeah.
Yeah.
now is a good time because I don't want to forget. Honestly, I don't want to forget to show this little surprise I got for you guys. A big surprise, guys.
Oh no.
Is it a penis
Share the
tattoo?
screen.
Yeah, I gotta do one of these.
If it's not a penis tattoo, I'm not-
It's not a penis
Or should I do
tattoo.
these?
So after the movie, Lightfoot Gary, as some people know him, went into the rap business.
No way! I think I saw this.
All the mother dudes wanna
Oh my
get
God.
with my chick, she know with my chick, she know that they want it. Only one girl sexy is my
It's so bad.
It's so bad. Is it all the way back around to good, or is it still just bad? I'm not
No,
sure.
no, they're all like that. He's uploaded to a couple months ago too. He's got like 100,000 followers. Yeah.
Wow.
No way.
So this
Or
is
sorry, he's
recent?
got 6,000. Yeah. So this is 15 years ago.
Oh, okay. Still well after this movie released.
I love
But,
you.
but he's still uploading?
He loves you.
Yeah, he's still uploading up until a year ago. He stopped last year. He was doing the podcast. I know. But I thought the rap, because it's like the popular ones. He had a rap career going on.
I'm gonna brush my teeth in a couple hours. Like
Everybody had a rap career
My
going for a
chick.
while.
My chick, yeah.
Oh, I got a road trip tomorroap. That's
Rapping.
going on the playlist for sure.
Ingens. How do you spell Ingens in an offensive way? There, I'll try that.
ING.
INGUN. Yeah. No, but a serious note, a great part of it is like when he is kind of like having fun with the box, and he's it sounds bad.
Go on.
He was experimenting.
He gets to play with the box for the first time. Is that a metaphor, guys?
For like an 8-year-old, I hope not.
No, he goes to get the bow and arrow for his Indian friend, and he puts the old guy in there, and the guy dies from a heart attack, and it just like hits you out of nowhere.
The movie
And
gets
you're like-
very serious at moments, and it's really
It was kind of funny because it's like messed up, but then it's like he gets the chastised by a Lightfoot, little bear, it being like, you're just a kid, and he's like, but like in retrospect, it's like comparatively to the kids that he knows, it's like this is crazy immature. Like you need to be respectful. It was a very serious moment. I really endearing, and I don't know, I liked it.
It's not like you killed the guy on purpose. Although he was a little slow to react. Here's the thing I don't understand. Why didn't he try resuscitating the guy? Being like, hang on, let me try this. Just throw that C in there. Maybe he doesn't.
Might have made it, but
Wait,
he did say he was a medic.
Omri?
Yeah, like the guy's
Try
dead. And he's like,
resuscitating
oh
him?
no. Just like not like mouth to mouth.
I know. I'm like,
Oh, shoot.
It's like
no.
squished.
Boom!
He had like a little straw.
Yeah, there you go. I meant like put the little guy back in the thing, close it, unlock it. Oh, he's plastic again. Put him back in, close it, unlock it, and see if he's like, oh wait, what happened?
Yeah, just so he could die
Didn't even
again.
He just keeps doing it. He just keeps dying over and over again. It resets him like a second.
The kid turns into like a sociopath because he can't handle.
Oh no! That's a totally different movie now.
Little bears. No, kid, stop!
This dream never ends.
Then he starts taking other figures and just like.
He could have. What if he got like twisted and he like makes the guy plastic and then like takes him out and just like snaps off a leg and throws him back in just to see what happens,
Right. They tease
Or he
all that
makes, like,
stuff.
Here's
They
one
do.
thing I don't understand. Yeah, like he put the Vader in there with the RoboCop and the T-Rex and all hell breaks loose, and he's not like, this is awesome. He's like, oh geez, and stops it, dork. Like you'd think he'd be grabbing. He had that little it was like a D&D character he replaced the one guy with. You think he'd be like putting that stuff in there. Like, what happens if I like, I don't know, take a car and put a Barbie head on it and then like put some arms on the side and like
Well, he's
get
got
creative
PTSD.
and throw that in there and see what happens. Why not take a fake little sandwich and put it in there? Does it make the sandwich real? I don't know. Why don't I take my full shoe and put my shoe in? Do I get a little toy shoe?
From Toy Story.
Yeah.
He's not a bad guy.
This isn't a bad thing. You're just like, what can this thing do?
Yes,
you know?
it is.
Well, the box
Barbie
is
doll heads on a car. What's gonna happen?
That's like
the box is a
just trying to figure it
metaphor,
out, man.
It's also a metaphor for like Pandora's box, and so he was very quickly learning the dangers of the box.
Now, I've heard a lot of people make a lot of claims about the symbolism, and this thing means this. Is this us putting that on this movie, or is it the creator saying this was our intention? Because you can say that was
their
it, kind
intention.
of work at it for
It
sure.
was
They
their
actually said that.
No, but you can infer that from the writing of the story.
Put it on
He's
there
just
and say
like,
that that's it. I'm just saying, unless they say it outright, I'm like, I don't know. Maybe you're putting your own. You want this to fit in there.
Listen,
I don't
and
think
it
I am.
works.
I don't think I am.
Either
Boxes are expensive anyway.
Yeah.
Either
either it's meaningless or they actually cared about it. Like either they just whipped this movie together. They're like, wouldn't it be cool if we just had an Indian in a cupboard and they just whipped this movie together and catched up? Or they cared a lot about it.
I think
One
they
or the
were
other.
fairly intentional, just because like they did some pretty intricate, good character work with Omri, the main boy, like in his journey, kind of learning and maturing and being responsible throughout the film, and then because he had to take care of this tiny little person who, in his world, is essentially helpless, and so he had to be responsible. And then by the end, he's learned something from Little Bear, and Little Bear's learned something from him as well. And I don't know, man. I thought the character work was really good. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
And the effects. This is 95. I was a year old. Justin
What
was
is-
like was 35 at the time, but like
I was 36. Thank you. Nice try, though. Take that year from me. How dare you?
I think just conceptually of the movie, like it's Toy Story, but with an extra layer. Like they actually get to interact with the living toys, which is probably why it captured me so much as when I was a kid. It was like that idea is way cooler than my toys being shady little bastards doing things behind my back. What? Is this an easy guy for the
well, like also it appeals to the imagination, especially of children. Because when I was a kid, I always imagined my toys coming to life and I was playing with them and imagining and like this movie really works off of that imagined like playtime as a child, which I think is maybe why some people who watch it are still nostalgic about it.
Oh, absolutely, yes. Christy, what's something that you liked about the movie?
I didn't like the movie.
Yeah, there's nothing you liked about it. There's like an aspect.
Not a solitary thing.
Not all of it was terrible.
This is total downer.
like Justin with Passion of the Christ.
I haven't seen it. I just heard it's kind of down.
Kind of a downer.
Yeah.
I'm actually enjoying listening to you guys talk about it and saying pertinent things that make me think, okay, it wasn't that bad. But like from my own viewpoint, watching it, I'm like, oh my god, I'm wasting my time. But it's because I'm a boring fucking adult, and like I'm like I have dinner to make. Yeah. I don't have any stupid cupboard.
And she's like, oh, this is what it's like to have retards enjoy a movie.
She's like,
no, actually, I'm sitting here going like this. Because I think I'm probably about a decade or more older than, so I'm a generation above you guys, and I'm like, dude, I got E.T. That was my favorite movie when I was a kid.
I
felt
that
bad
movie
for
too.
You guys.
My
we had E.T. too.
Tiny little bit better than this movie.
We had Hook. We had Hook. That was a good.
No,
movie.
But then on the other hand,
I go back to too.
I love Babe. There were good children's movies, made in the 90s.
It's just not this one.
but that's the thing. Like Indian in the Cupboard as a book is close to my heart. Like I read that in elementary school.
I didn't even know it was a book.
And I loved it. And I love it. I think for me, it's one of those things where the movie really ruined the experience of the book for me because it's that whole imagination thing, especially when you're reading as a child. Like you make it way better than they can in a movie. In
the book, does it say? And then
you weren't a child when you watched the film, so it's not the same kind of.
Not the first time, and I wasn't a child rewatching it right now. But I do have to say one thing: yes, the effects were fantastic for the time.
90,
they were good.
Yeah, I just found out it was a book.
Yeah.
But and that kind of I would definitely see how somebody reading the book first is it's probably a lot better. It was tooting its horn at the end where the kid, because he would come into class and tell his story that he had, and he's obviously talking about the Indian in the cupboard. And then he's like, yeah, wow, that was a good story. I like how that ended. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, kind of.
Okay,
a little bit there.
Okay, since we are talking about the ending right now, my only thought the whole time while Omri's imagining going into the forest with Little Bear to do his man ritual, I'm like, fuck you, little Jewish New York kid. Like, you die in 2 seconds.
Oh, the one scene, because one thing I wanted to point out when he gets bullied and he gets his lunch money taken or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes like, you don't even deserve to have that mohawk. And I'm like, stolen valor. I'm like, what?
You don't deserve the mohawk. Why is that so funny?
There's no talk about like needing to earn a mohawk or what does this kid have to do with the Native Americans? What's stolen? Why is it stolen valor?
I think it's like my son. My son has expressed some weird sentiments like this recently too. He's like his perception of what is cool. And if somebody's cool, that means they're also a good person in his mind. And so when someone who has a cool thing like a mohawk acts like a douchebag or whatever,
douche.
The douche.
The douche.
The douche. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It was just weird.
I think maybe it's just because I have a kid like very close to that age right now, and so. But yeah. No, there are things I appreciate about this movie, but it's obviously not one of the greats. It's like I'm afraid to rewatch Free Willy because I don't know if that is actually a good film or if I just loved it as a child.
Yes.
Yeah.
No idea.
It's not.
I will say,
no, but it's fun for kids.
Yeah. Personally, I enjoy this on the rewatch, and like I said, I'm very nostalgic about this. But there were some serious moments in this that I thought stuck the landing. There was some comedy in here that I thought stuck the landing as well, and so I was kind of pleasantly surprised. And it was sprinkled within in the movie. Like, yeah, the pacing was off, but those good moments were sprinkled in around the movie. I think in a good way, right? It's not just in the end or in the beginning.
It does. It makes the whole thing more watchable, having good little pockets throughout. I do want to point something out, though. In the poll for this film, I fought hard to get this movie to win. I did not expect it to. It went up against Apocalypto, Josie Wales, and Last of the Mohicans, and it won 35% of the vote.
Nostalgia is a powerful weapon, dude. I don't know how that won.
Last of the Mohicans. People love these movies.
I like Last of the Mohicans is award winning too, right? And I picked it, but I was like, I never seen it before. So I was like, I'm sure I'll probably enjoy it. But yeah.
Now, have any of you guys watched Dances with Wolves?
Love that film. Yeah,
I almost picked
really
that.
like
I've never seen it.
I would have voted for that if that was on the list. So I think that probably still holds up as a really great movie.
I have a hot take real quick. Last of the Mohicans is boring.
I wouldn't know.
It has very good music, but
maybe.
It is
I'm not sure.
not. It does not.
We didn't watch that movie this week, though, Kahuna.
I know, but I'm thinking about it. You're talking about how people hold in high regard. The people do hold in high regard, but I dare them. That movie is boring. Sorry.
I love having a soundboard.
Yeah, me too. It's great.
I love the soundboard.
I need to sign in so I can start.
Every time AC talks.
What if I could just recreate that?
AC, give us a breakdown of some of the symbolism that was done in this.
Let's go. So my son might be whining, so I might have to pop in and out. But here's the rundown. The first thing I caught onto was the and Justin and Kahuna actually corrected me on this, but I think I still stand by it. It's the God and man and Adam and Eve Garden of Eden type energy that they were giving off. I'm gonna help my son quick, but
yeah,
that's the first thing if you guys want to talk about that.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about that. Essentially saying that there was a reference to biblical, the biblical lore of Adam asking God for a wife, essentially, right? Which you guys pointed out that's not
one
actually the
major
Bible.
flaw in the whole thing.
But
wow, wanting a wife.
Yeah. But was that in like Paradise Lost or something like that? Was that in a different?
It must be in something because you guys both think that's true, but Justin and I it's obviously not true. And
Adam doesn't say anything. Yeah, he gets made. He hangs out.
He's kind of a passive bitch for most of the the
he
portion
says
of
nothing.
The
Caroline, did we get that from
you need a girlfriend?
She'll know.
Woman with non-goldfish brain.
Not that woman gifted a little bit. Maybe she's into it. Maybe she was. Hang on. Maybe she, in her own life, she's like the guy she's with is like a deadbeat loser, and he's like gross. And then Little Bear's there. He's like, hey, and she's like, yo, check out those tattoos. What are you?
Or she wakes up and it's like, you are my wife now. Welcome to this strange land where everything is big except for us.
She's like, let's go. Let's roll. That sounds good. Let's get after. You got some oats. You got some giant oats.
That's how we wanted it to be. But it's funny to imagine that she wants nothing to do with them.
Yeah. Well, but the movie was definitely trying to portray a child playing God. Like that was definitely something they were trying to portray.
Right. Yeah. And the first thing that the Indian says when he comes out of the cupboard is, first of all, a bunch of non-English. So there's the first plot hole when we get to the negative things about it. He doesn't speak English, but then he magically does. But anyway,
they explained it.
They did? What did they say?
Yeah, they said because he's used to Englishman
English
or whatever.
trader.
Oh,
White
okay, I missed
man.
that.
White
My
man,
bad.
yeah, he trades with. Yeah, white man. I love
Okay,
it.
makes a lot of sense. He speaks it pretty fluently. But
Damn redskin.
one of the first things he says is, "Oh, great spirit," and then the kid does the face again, and then he's like, the great spirit could be a child, yeah, and then which poses a great question, like God being a child, like interesting question, right? Like, because that would this is what I mean why they did some shit on purpose. Like they were really touching on some stuff, and I mean that's what makes the scene later on when he's like, there are no gods here, because the cowboy was like, is he like a god or something like that, and then he's like, there's no gods here, and yeah, it made that super powerful.
After he brought back an old man to let him have a heart attack in a
And-
unfamiliar place.
Okay, you're a kid and you're like, I have this power and I got this little guy that's alive. You're not giving that guy a race car? Like, you're not putting a little Corvette in there for him? You're not giving him a UFO?
I think he got spooked. Well, no, because he did give him the axe. He stole that.
He did that
from
before.
the night.
The knight's
He
like,
did it
"Hey, what
before."
the hell?" He shuts the door.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
He gave him the axe before he gave him the bow.
yeah.
That's when he stopped doing that.
And
Yeah, 'cause he didn't.
so like the whole like creator and like, you know, Adam and Eve, God and Adam dynamic is the first thing, and when if you watch it again with that in mind, you can see it all throughout, like just the image of a giant like godlike hand, like and then a primitive man stepping onto it, like that's powerful stuff. And the other thing is legacy symbolism. So the whole what I mean by that is like family, like parental stuff, and we see this most between him and his asshole friend. His asshole friend doesn't have any investment in it. He doesn't have any reason to want to be a good parent, and so this is where we get away from God and more to like the parenting side of things. Like the kid becomes a slightly better parent as the story goes on, like as he gets scared, like he has these encounters where he thinks he's gonna like lose the Indian and stuff. But yeah, you can see how his friend is a bad parent with no investment. He just thinks it's cool to have a kid, and then he has been through some shit and doesn't just think it's cool. He actually genuinely cares for this creature, you know.
Yeah.
And at the end, he gives up the power that he shouldn't have as a kid because he's not God.
Which goes into my third thing. My third point is the secret protagonist. So the secret main character is actually the Indian, because the movie reveals this when he goes into the cave, because the protagonist is the one who journeys into the cave and comes out, you know, transformed. That's literally a point on the timeline in the hero's journey. So the fact that the Indian actually goes back and says, I don't want a wife anymore, I want to go home and stuff, like, yeah, that it's all there. And if you think back to how the story unfolded, it actually makes sense that the Indian would be the protagonist, you know.
Yeah, no, that your wife brings up a good point. If it was Light that discovered this box, what would he have done with it?
And that's like they made such a big deal of that scene when he first reaches out and takes the Indian in his hand. It's the hand of God reaching out to man, is what that's supposed to. Justin's kind of like, you guys are bullshitting me right now. You're all making this up.
Maybe you're right. I don't know.
A little bit, but not entirely. I also wanted to point out that was such a brother moment. It's like, wait, where's my cupboard? Where is it? And the older brother's like, where is it? Where'd you put it? Where's my rat?
Where's
ball?
my rat?
Where's my rat ball?
There's no key, I swear.
It's just like brothers bickering that just takes me back, man. My brother and I.
Yeah,
were
they used to do brothers really well in film, and I haven't seen it in a while. It used to be like almost.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Dude had chick's hair though.
They don't know. They don't know how to do siblings in movies anymore. Just siblings in general, not just brothers.
That's true. That's true.
Christy, what do you think? You've been around for like a little bit longer than Justin by like maybe half a year. So what do you think of the transformation of siblings? How they've been portrayed in film?
That actually was really interesting because I did note, like at the beginning of the movie, I'm like, these siblings are too nice to each other. This is not like I'm not buying this. And then it redeemed itself with the whole cupboard thing. I was like, all right. They're acting that way. And because I grew up middle child, of 4 children, I was the least special. 3 sisters, 1 brother. I shared the middle with my brother, so I'm the middle sister. So I was like nothing. Anyway, and thank you for being my therapist tonight.
I'm just wondering, this guy, and you guys brought up some good points. Like, he could have played around with it. He could have built an army, and who knows, he could have brought in the new.
No.
Yeah, could you imagine?
Hey guys,
You're right. Considering he was pretty responsible.
Oh,
what he could have
Henri is a Jewish name.
It is.
And he comes over. It's like, hey, I have my army men. Oh, look, I have the Germans. Let's put them in there.
Yeah. What conspiracy do we go with that?
He could raise money by having special ops missions that the army men perform on people's houses. They just go in and take jewelry because it's small enough to haul away. He could have these characters do his
Are you
homework.
talking about
for him.
turning this into like a Holocaust like analogy film? What?
No. Caroline brought up a great point. Like, I want to see the story with Light Yagami, who has the cupboard. That would be a really good story. But I think we're at that point.
I don't know why you wouldn't like grab little like pirate treasure chests and shit and turn all that into gold. That's all I do all day.
Yeah,
do what you want because a pirate is free. You are a pirate.
He slaps down a tiny doubloon. He slaps down a tiny doubloon at the like toy shop and gets a whole bunch of like pirate stuff.
Dude,
you guys are overthinking.
A little toy hamburger, like
guys, chocolate coins. Overthinking it. Chocolate coins. Solves
what
the
if it
problem
made it
pretty quick.
a real coin with
Taste.
chocolate in the middle that you can't bite through, so you can't even get to the chocolate?
Now that's candy, though. No, it worked with the tent. Well, no.
Yeah,
Does it only work with toys?
It's already
Can you
real.
imagine
just make it all
chocolate bunnies?
Does food?
Now it's just a real money
outside of the rules of the cupboard. Like, we never saw him try to put anything that wasn't a toy in the cupboard.
Right. Draw a picture.
Kids play.
Why would you draw a picture?
I think we're doing what the author and the creators of this movie maybe didn't want people to do. That is trying to figure out how it could be used.
Think what we would do if we had this thing.
Yeah.
We're supposed to
The sequel's
Actually,
resurrect
the chicken from a drumstick.
If they're on this train of thought for more than 2 minutes, it's all turning into porn.
Yeah.
All right, I think we're at that point, guys. Justin, this is a float. This is a sink.
I mean, from the things I've said so far, there's some things in it that like I get. There's some cool stuff. 90s vibe, that's always nostalgic. And then the magical birthday present, cool idea. Got some skateboard culture in there. I'm a sucker for that stuff. Anytime it's like snowboarding, surfing, skateboarding, cool. Little Indian guy, that's neat. The fact that the kids are like in school and the kids are all paying attention, it's like, hey, and the kid's like, let me tell you about some historical facts. I was like, well, that's nice to see. And there was actually one girl and she's like, I'm collecting Punisher and I love comics. I was like, oh, that's cool. Good special effects, we said.
That's cool. Yeah.
As a kid, I remember watching this like a couple of times. So I didn't love it even back then, but I don't remember like thinking it was bad. And I still think that's probably the case. If you show this to a kid, they'd probably dig it. For me, nothing really landed. And the city environment, I'm just like, oh, you're losing me already. Anytime anything takes place in a city and they like really capture
the weirdest
like,
I was at a point. I was at a point off.
I swear to God.
Because I want beauty on
because
screen.
it takes place in a city. We're a point off.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. I want sweeping landscapes.
It was, but it was to the story. It's supposed to be a drastic difference from the Indian's life. It's the actual opposite of, like, it's the most modern take of life.
Stuff, though.
Doesn't matter. Write a different story.
Okay.
That just makes you a beta cuck.
Thank you. Whatever the big takeaway was, some people, I guess, they got it. Clearly, I didn't get it, and a lot of other people didn't either. That's why it didn't do well at the box office. There's interesting ideas here. I guess if you want to watch it for the deeper symbolism, there's some intriguing ideas, but I thought the execution was generally poor. I didn't enjoy it. The first time, like 3 months ago when I watched it, I didn't enjoy it this time either at 1.5x. I was glad it ended sooner this time. I wouldn't really recommend it to anybody except for if you have young kids who are sick of films like E.T. or Goonies or Big Trouble in Little China, and you could throw this on, you could do worse. It's not the worst movie I've ever seen, but this is not a floater for me.
Wow.
Okay.
All
Kahuna,
right.
the sink or does it float?
It floats.
All right, A.C Pritchard, does it sink or does it float?
Well, it got me with the symbolism and actually trying. I'm realizing I appreciate things that are actually giving it a shot more than things that are like technically good or bad writing or whatever. But damn, I can't ignore some of those plot holes. You did solve one of the plot holes with the English, so that actually, yeah, I'm gonna say it floats because of
All
that.
right.
Yeah, you plugged one of the holes. So.
The Indian knows how to speak English, and there's an explanation. It's a floater. That's it.
Imperfect. So you can give it like a D- if you want, but it doesn't fail, in my opinion.
Hey, Justin, you realize what this means, right?
Christy.
What?
Go ahead, Christy.
Does it sink or does it float?
I really like your guys's like poop references here, floating and floaters and sinkers. But hey, it was a sinker for me. But this is what I'd say. You got a child in your life that hasn't seen it, read the book together first, then watch the movie and talk to the child about it and find out if they enjoyed the book or the movie better.
Talking to your children? Ew.
Yeah. Who wants to read? Who wants to
But also, I
kids.
gotta give major props to AC for like really doing freaking homework and digging into this shit. Like, because I'm just like, meh, bored.
Yep.
And you actually thought about it, so I appreciate that.
Is the Indian going to start a revolution in the New York City? I don't think so. Out.
This is where you can start to see how egregious things like Halo really are. That offended me.
The show?
Yeah.
Yeah,
the show. Yeah, the show.
If you said the names, I was going to slap you through the internet.
But then Indian in the closet just like wins me over. I don't know.
Indian in the closet.
All right.
The Native American in the closet, not the Indian in the cupboard.
Opinion. Yes, this movie had some issues, pacing, acting. I thought Lightfoot was delightful in it. I think this movie had a lot of charm, and charm past my nostalgia of the movie, and it got some genuine laughs out of it, out of the movie for me. And yeah, I think that there was like deeper meanings intertwined into the themes of this movie, and I thought it was kind of really nice, and it was definitely better than I expected. And my decision on this. Wow, that's the wrong one. It floats.
Suck it, Justin.
What's the line?
They look the same.
It's okay.
They look the same.
You guys, it's okay. You guys are wrong. I think that's what people tell me usually.
That's what we always tell you, and it's almost always true. Not always. No, what I was talking about was because AC was the only unknown. I knew Joe and I were going to say
really?
float. I knew Christy and you were going to say no. AC was the real decider of this.
AC surprises us.
AC,
it'll be like one
like
little thing, and it'll completely change his opinion on the overall total. Like he'll be like, "Oh, I really like this. I like this. I like this." No. You know what? That guy did have crooked teeth, and I think that just makes it sick for me.
Look, that's more Justin. He'd be like, "Oh, it takes place in a city. Oh, okay. Wait, this movie's fucked.
That dude hangs his hat on a knife on the wall.
This guy is not a good husband in this movie. Not for me, man. I just don't know. Yeah.
The telltale sign AC really likes something is if he writes a lot about it. And in our chat, he was like, "Guys." He's floating this thing.
Fellas, hear me out. Symbolism.
Chrissy, you have a project. Can you put that in the private chat, or if somebody else can?
Sure.
Yeah, we're gonna do a little bit of shilling. You got a magazine that's out and about.
Yeah.
Called,
I don't have a campaign running right now, but we never stop selling because we are a quarterly publication of a comic satire rag like Mad and Crack was back in the day. But obviously, you guys have no idea about it because you're too young. They were really funny and awesome.
I know of Mad Magazine. I never read it though. It was yeah.
So basically, it is very on brand for us to hate everything and goof on it. So, you know, it's very easy to come on a show like this where you guys are reviewing something that's and then just shit on it. But
More power to you.
But basically, it is Mad or Cracked or National Lampoons, but made for today's day and age, and making fun of modernity and woke culture and all that kind of stuff. So if you're sick and tired of like mainstream entertainment, you will see us, you know, basically tearing it apart along with culture and wokeness and blah 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 blah, and it's really fun. I swear you will like it if you have your pulse on anything, your finger on the pulse of anything culture. We probably touch on it and make fun of it. Like, for example, before the whole P Diddy thing came out, P Diddy was already blackmailing Flip City in one of our articles, and it was very funny. So
I just
I'm sorry. Did you say something about
Polynesian one in
not knowing about Mad Magazine?
Mad Magazine.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I think I know a little bit. No,
yeah, no, Chris. I think I ordered during your last campaign when you were on Iron Age Nights. Actually,
did you receive it?
I don't think so. Not
yet.
Oh,
my camp, the most recent one.
The most recent one.
Okay. Phew.
Woo! All right.
We've campaigned a few times. I'm like, don't tell me I didn't send you a thing. Okay, cool.
It's happened once or twice with others, but I'm not worried about it. Like me, I'm terrible. If there's a campaign, I'll order it and it will be out of my mind. I will not think about it ever again. And so I looked back and I'm like, oh, some people just never sent me stuff. Okay, that's cool. But then when it does arrive, it's like, oh, sweet. Also, I have not strayed from the path, Herman. I am Polynesian. That has nothing to do with me straying from the path. Anyway.
Happy surprises. And those are my favorite kind of readers, are the ones that forget that they have a subscription or have purchased and then they get it. Because we also do pre-sale on our website. So, you know, sometimes people are waiting a couple of months during a pre-sale period, and then they receive it and they're like, oh, I totally forgot about this. Thank you so much. So yeah, I don't know. I mean,
that's going to be me when it arrives. Be like, oh, cool. Hey, thanks.
I hope so, actually. And I hope it makes you laugh and you have a good time with it. I mean, that really is the purpose of the magazine. We're an extremely irreverent magazine about everything under the sun, including ourselves, you know, so we call it a shit rag. But people like Mike Barron say stuff like it's actually intellectual, which it really is, but we can't say that out loud.
Well, you if you take yourself seriously, then it doesn't work. You know, it's like one of those things. But like when I was looking at some of the preview pages and some like on the campaign page when it was still running, I was like, kind of reminds me of like The Campaign, that old like Zach Galifianakis movie with Will Ferrell, where it was just a movie making fun of politics, and I'm like, and like modern BS and how it's all like just theater and bullshit basically. And I'm like, yeah, no, I could use some more of that in my life for sure.
You know, I actually thank you for that. I don't think it's been described like that, but it is very much that. It is basically myself and my husband and pretty much all of our contributors could agree on one thing, and that is everything that is being shown to us in our life and on TV and on social media and all this, it's all fake and gay, right? So we just make fun of the fake and gay.
And
absolutely
retarded as
well.
That's just you, and that there's nothing fake about it anyway.
I haven't played the video.
It is honestly funny. I mean, it's much funnier than Mad Magazine or Cracked because there's a bite to the humor. It's not all those cartoons are great, but some of the articles I read have been a real stitch. They're intellectual. They appeal to discerning people. It's not sarcasm. It's satire. And I urge you to subscribe to Flip City.
Flip City Magazine is just really pulling out all the stops, man. Your guys' production value of this magazine has gone insane. I mean, look at that. I mean, I remember when you guys, it was black and white. Even when it was black and white, I thought your quality was great. But damn, they have just, I mean, they just really stepping it up a notch. Look at this. James Corbett, boys. James Corbett.
I love Flip City. It has brought new types of badassery and integrity to the print medium. I hope everybody goes out and supports you guys and is part of the fun.
Several copies of different issues of their magazine to me, and I've been perusing them recently. As I say, genuinely satirical, genuinely cutting, but also funny, and obviously just chaotic and very fun. For example, Flip City issue 7 features McCommunism, over 100 million starved, extreme Karening, and sexy Fauci centerfold. And
No.
it delivers on everything it promises, including, well, I don't know about the sexy part, but there's the Fauci centerfold.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
I gotta say, we were in progress on this last campaign. Anybody that happened to look at it, we were in progress of making a trailer and ended up not getting it done, and we still funded. And I was like, thank the good Lord, dude, because like doing this every 3 months and making a new trailer, who had time for that?
Can get exhausting, especially if it's an in-depth kind of thing. And it reminds, I have a YouTube friend who does like little animated shorts making fun of modern times in the world, and basically kind of what you guys do, calling out bullshit as he sees it, like as it actually is. And I'm like, I think we almost have like a responsibility, like as people, like if you can see through the nonsense that is put in front of you, like you not only have to call it out, because then that just becomes combative, but you need to make fun of it, bring it down to it, like bring it down a little bit. It doesn't have to be like it's a bad, like all these things are bad, but it doesn't have to be world ending. We can make fun of it and move past it, and I think humor is a great way to do that.
I think it's probably the most perfect and beautiful tool that has been bestowed upon us humans, is to be able to mock and ridicule tyranny. Really, I mean,
it's
honestly.
I mean, yeah, laughter is like the most powerful thing ever. It's the easiest way to win people over. Stranger in a Strange Land by Robert Heinlein. Controversial
dude, that's
book.
one of my favorite books.
Yeah, the whole core concept of that is trying to figure out what makes humans humans, and it's they are the people that laugh, I think is what he called it. And it's the Martian doesn't truly understand what humans are until he figures out how to laugh. It ends up being kind of depressing though. Why we laugh.
we laugh. Spoiler: we laugh when things go wrong. Anyway.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. I mean, it's just such a win on every single level, because not only are you, pointing at that emperor with no clothes and being, haha, look at this, but you're also bringing other people joy. Like one of my favorite quotes, and I think it is in that that video that we've seen, is one of our readers said, your magazine's epic and brings joy to my soul. And I'm like, yes, that is why we are doing this, is to make our readership laugh and maybe make a little money along the way. I mean, come on, we got
you
right, just a little bit. A little bit.
You want to do all right. Is like I only met that my buddy Ricky Rat because I was in Hawaii during the fire, and I was trying to cover all of that. And there was so much nonsense going on over there, like stuff on boots on the ground, like stuff you wouldn't believe. It's like one or two things like sound like conspiracy theory, but it was like 5 or 6 conspiracy level things that actually happened and I witnessed. And it was
Dude, I didn't know. So you were there just like on the off, like vacationing or something?
I was set to arrive there with both my kids and my mother to go visit my grandmother on the North Shore. In that we were set to be there 2 days or 3 days after the fire happened. Fire happens. Me and my mom leave the kids, and we're there the next day. And so we were taking care of stuff over there. But so yeah, I found Ricky Rat on YouTube. I talked to him a little bit. We wrote up a script. A couple good jokes got cut, but yeah, no, we were poking fun at all the nonsense going on over there, like with Joe Biden and his limp dick speech when he was over there, and just nonsense. And then Ricky Rat, he didn't tell me about this joke until after the video comes out. But the video comes out, it's like, oh, Ricky Rat, his little cartoon character, what are you going to do? You've been criticizing all of us and everything we've done. What are you going to do to help? He's like, well, I guess I'll find those missing kids. Ooh. Come here, boy. Brings out Joe Biden on a leash.
Oh, no.
No.
Wow.
I'm like, dude, that was bold. I'm glad you didn't tell me.
So where do we find this Ricky Rat guy on the YouTube so I can look at his animation?
I'll look it up real quick. It's been a minute since I've talked to him, actually.
Because that's the other thing, too. Yes, a lot of stuff that we have published, or even just ideas that we haven't published in the magazine, we've turned into little animations on our YouTube as well. So if you want to know a little bit, for anybody out there that's interested in knowing what Flip City's about, I would direct them to first our free magazine on our website. You can see the button right there at the top of the screen share, and then also our YouTube. You kind of have to dig a little bit because I've been streaming to it, and we're quite eclectic in the things that we like to create. But we do have animations on there. So if you go in the video tab and scroll around, you'll find our animations, a couple of little skits and stuff like that. And it'll give you an idea of what, the topics Flip City likes to cover and our sense of humor.
Sweet.
Wow. Amazing guest right here, too. This is probably the most entertaining thing.
Jeez.
Yeah. You guys cover all the bases. You guys talk to gay Frenchmen, obviously, looking at these pictures.
So beautiful. It's so amazing.
Like, he was super intellectual. Yeah. You can tell by that beret.
I've been called a philosopher by many. Probably all
he gets
really that I talk to.
He gets on there, he talks a little bit, and he's just like, wait a second. Anyway, continuing.
There was a section in that show, though, where Bats, you had to improv. There was like panels from a cartoon with all the dialogue removed, and you had to come up with a backstory or something.
Yeah.
It was actually, you were really quick
genius.
On your feet. It was
some people are saying genius.
I'll give it to you, man. I was dying. I was like,
give him that. How dare you?
Dude. Watch it. It was genuinely pretty damn funny, and he was coming up with some stuff. I'm just like, where is he pulling this from? And it was on the fly. It's not something you could have planned.
It was on the fly.
It was a fun watch. Yeah, it was good stuff.
It was all directly from Battsauce's mad mind.
It's from my genius, really.
His neurodivergency directly from it. Yep.
It's with great power comes great responsibility, right? So I must harness this tool with great care. If I had the cupboard, everybody'd be fine, right? It's just how it is. But yeah, you got a great thing going on. Magazine looks great. But yeah, anything else you want to mention? We'll
just on that note, because that little piece that we're talking about where Battsauce got to do a live read. That is part of my stream that I do every week on Thursdays. It's called Creative Chaos, where I shine a spotlight on fascinating people creating fantastic things outside the mainstream, basically the indies. So anybody interested, I just love meeting people in the indie space. It does not have to be, indie publishers as far as physical media or anything like that. It can be musicians and If you guys, if anybody out there wants to come on my show and have a good time, you can just DM me over on Twitter, and I am at Kitty Flip City.
Yeah.
Over on Twitter, DM me if you want to come over.
No, that sounds like a blast. I may send you a DM just in a little bit. But Joe, Justin, AC, I actually have to get going. There's a situation going on at home, and I have to sort out. But I think it's fine. But I do have to go. So hey. Christy, thank you for coming on the show. I hope they don't mistreat you during the remainder of your time here. And hey, have a good night, guys.
It's okay if they do. Aloha, Kahuna.
Aloha. Anyway.
Ciao.
All right. I always rely on Kahuna later, man. Later. It's just,
Have you ever thought about oiling your?
Wait.
What was that? No, I don't
can't
think I
remember
have.
what
But what was the rest of it?
Wait.
Have you ever thought about oiling yourself up for me?
I don't think I have.
I always rely on Kahuna to transition us into the topics, but I'll mention going on your show. I genuinely had a lot of fun. The structure of the show is fantastic, and yeah, coming up with that story was a blast. I'm like, give me more. I want to do more stuff like that. So it also kind of makes me think a little bit. I'm like, I want to do things like that on this show.
Do it. Like, okay, so basically the whole idea about doing the branded segment is I very rudely, no matter who is on my show, bring everything back to Flip City. I'm like, I don't care if you don't know what Flip City is or not, you're going to learn it by the time you leave. So yeah, it's a very rude thing, but almost everybody says they have a good time with it, and that really truly is the purpose. I do my show for entertainment. I think you guys do your show for entertainment too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm always pleased to hear when people have a good time and aren't.
I always want to debate. I always find fighting and debating fun, but these guys are always like, no, we'll just let it happen naturally. What's up, Wrangler? What's going on? All right. So
Yeah,
the topics, it's like I have to scroll through like these guys talking about symbolism and the picture of the the wiener tattoos.
Yeah.
Like
We found it.
And by the way, if you'd also like to be one of those people, you should join the Discord. You can come in.
Oh,
here.
yeah,
You can scroll through the content with us and contribute to the the discussion and the topics and the movies and everything.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let me see. Let me share that right in there. It's in the comments. We have a blast in there. A little bit too much. But AC, what's our first topic? You guys so vague with these topics.
Life in the 90s.
Life in the 90s. What about life in the 90s, AC?
Man, it was so different. See that shit? See that shit in the movie?
I've been so busy. I briefly look at the topics. I'm like, oh no. And I'm like, Kahuna will figure something out. And Kahuna tips on us.
For what it's worth, I tried to be like, hang on, do we hone in? Because there's always like 5 or 6 bandied about that are kind of vague. I'm like, do we pick ones? And then I think AC threw one out there. I was like, okay, I guess the other people, I guess Kahuna will be on it. But
yeah, AC will always like throw up a word. No, I mean we can talk about symbolism because it did have to do with the movie, right? What does the dick tattoos mean? What does that have to do with anything?
It means
what does it say about us?
Oh yeah,
it
that's
means
what
he's
they're
hard.
looking for.
His attacks are penetrating. You know, the blood flows within him. The spirit, spirit flows within him. Yes, like blood. Yes, that's what it means. Yeah, and fertility, of course. Yeah.
Fertility. Yeah, he was trying to find a woman. Yeah.
Usually phallic symbols represent fertility.
I mean, that was the whole thing about the movie too. We kind of didn't cover that Lightfoot had a dead wife and child.
Yep,
which was kind of big.
Yeah, he's the real main character, which was one of my topics, was secret protagonist as like a storytelling device.
oh, that's what you meant by that. You wrote that. I'm like, I don't know what that means, but okay.
Yeah,
Now it makes a little more sense.
I figured that's what you meant, but can you elaborate on that?
Well,
because is there any other stories or anything like that kind of cover a secret protagonist?
Any major ones? Not off the top of my head, but I personally wrote one that was a retelling of Beowulf that was from the perspective of Beowulf's best friend Wiglaf. So we, as the reader, through Wiglaf's eyes, get to witness Beowulf's like ascension and some of the things behind the scenes and stuff. I would kind of view that as a secret protagonist in the way where it's like really about Beowulf, but just through Wiglaf's eyes, if that makes sense. But this was a little different, where it was kind of like a reveal. Like, at least that's what I interpreted it as. Like, as soon as he went into the cave to face the monster, I was like, he's the protagonist. He's coming out of there changed after he fights the rat. And I was right. He came out. He's like, time to go home. I don't really care about this world anymore. It's time to find, you know, I don't care about a wife anymore. I gotta go be with my nephew, basically.
Yeah, keep living life.
Yeah.
Live it. Now, is he the secret protagonist? Because the movie is titled Indian in the Cupboard.
Yeah, it's not the Omri in his cupboard. It's the Indian.
Omri in the cupboard, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty clear, right?
I don't know how much of a secret it was.
Maybe Omri was the secret. No.
Yeah. It's like it's from like Omri's perspective, though. We're like following him, but the secret focus is actually the Indian, right?
Yeah. Now, I mentioned that the main character, he's Jewish, right? Which means it's a Jewish family. So what does that mean? Is Indian in the Cupboard trying to secretly tell people that the Jews are in control of everything?
I think you're right.
I think that, except for it was allowed to be made in Hollywood, so
Yeah, I didn't see any symbolism for that, Bats. But
really, it's riddled with it. I mean,
his name is Omri. You're right.
The Jew-ish character has the cupboard. It's basically saying like you can play God with this. That means that the Christian God doesn't exist, right? I don't know if there's any other way to interpret that.
I think there's several ways to interpret it for sure. That's one of them. I can't deny that. I cannot deny your personal experience in this. Your truth, Bats. Your truth is very valuable. I cannot deny it.
Yes. Anything else you want to? Anything else you want to talk about with symbolism, AC?
As far as symbolism.
Christy, something you need to know about the show. Every week, AC mentions, let's talk about symbolism.
Yeah.
But like, not kidding.
and then everybody goes, "Ah."
Yeah.
Which is always like an aspect of whatever we're talking about in the first place, but it's fine. It's fine. But
well, one thing that was brought up in our discussion topics, I think it ties into Flip City Magazine on some level too, is how to choose symbolism for your stories. And even in terms of how do you choose what content you choose for your magazine? It's not quite symbolism, but just like the content. So for the authors amongst us over here, that could be something you guys, do you look into that? Or, I mean, I could talk about that musically, and then also just the content for your magazine. How do you know how to be like, that's when we got to get versus like, that one's not as good, that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, I think probably a lot of people that don't really know the magazine don't realize that we do storytell in it. It's just not longer form world building and stuff like that you do, that you guys do in like your comic books and stuff like that. We have short stories and all that kind of stuff. But as far as what we are going to choose to publish in the magazine, so we need to basically, our purpose is to comment on society, like current society, not necessarily current events that, the things that you're going to get on Twitter every day.
Right.
But we do also need to stay as current as possible. So it actually is a process to guess what is going to remain evergreen for the longest amount of time. So
I was just about to ask that.
I mean, it really is a lot of guessing and also kind of being tuned into trends for such a long time. You realize when something's going to have staying power, so something that's going to be still relevant 2 or 3 months later as we're writing it to when a reader might get it. And also some of it is like divination. I swear.
You just get like that feeling like
we make shit up. We make shit up and it's like, okay, this is so ridiculous, but it may come true 6 months down the road. And it happens over and over. It happens over and over.
You see the trends and the patterns, and you're like, maybe this will take place, and then it actually does. You're like, holy crap, we did it again.
Yeah. One of my favorite examples, and in that video, anybody that saw the Elmo thing, that was our Elmo Gets Vaxxed. And we did that in early 2021, and basically Elmo dies because he gets vaxxed. And then Sesame Street vaxes him 6 months later.
Oh my gosh.
And then Babylon Bee mocks and ridicules Sesame Street for vaxing Big Bird. And we're like, dude, we were like 6 months ahead of this shit, and it was way funnier than the real thing that happened, and also what Babylon Bee did.
So whenever
Right.
that takes place, do you get on social media and jump in the comments and like?
No, we're
quote tweet and try to-
terrible.
Yeah.
We're terrible at that shit. Like, we literally need a social media manager.
You need to
because-
beef with them. You need to beef with the
Oh,
bee.
we've tried. Oh, no. I actually. Okay, no. If anybody go to our website, scroll to the bottom where the quotes are, and within the first 5 or 6, you'll see the one that we got from Babylon Bee, from 2020, of them telling us we are too edgy and vulgar for their audience.
Wow.
So I already have a beef with them from way back. Like, I talked directly to Seth. He took my money and then basically said, "No, you can't advertise with us. This is too much."
That sounds pretty gay.
It was very gay.
It's just all the I'm thinking about with that. Oh man, I was gonna say something about that.
We wanted to be friends with Babylon Bee, but they didn't want to be friends with us.
Yeah, it's just.
So how did
No,
you get
just-
in the hands of like Salty Cracker and Mike Barron and some of those other bigger channels and bigger names?
So that's probably my biggest job in Flip City, is just to spread the word. And I hadn't even heard of Comic Skate or anything like that when we launched. And because basically the purpose of us wanting to do it was, number one, to make the establishment eat shit, right? Like, that sounded so fun. And then also use my wonderful genius husband's skills as a writer, a comedy writer and illustrator, to do something, to push back on the mainstream and all that. So I basically did a lot of research and started emailing people and DMing them, seeing who would accept it, who'd look at it. And with Salty Cracker, because I was doing this in 2020, I caught him right before his first major rise on social media. So he was still small enough to accept it, and like for it to not get buried, basically.
Right.
And he accepted it and was like, holy shit, and loved the concept and has just loved it ever since. We've been sending it to him now for 5 years, and every once in a while in his stream it also helps because one of his mods is a contributor to the magazine.
Okay, cool.
So he'll see her in there and be like, "Oh, look, it's Kelsey Case," and they show it to the whole audience. It was just one of those things. Like, to me, like, I feel like Salty Cracker is to Flip City as Razor Fist is to like Iron Age Media and the rest of the Iron Age. Now, next step is getting him to recognize Flip City and shout us out too. Like, I'm a hog. I really am. Like, I am a clout hustler. I'm like, fuck you. You have viewers. Like, I'm not shy about it. Like, you have an audience, and I know they're going to like this. Please talk about us. So that's what I do, and I'm not ashamed.
Yeah. No. Oh man, every time I'm about to say something, I completely lose my thought. No, so they like these guys are always like, because I've been on a bunch of shows in the past couple of weeks, and Justin will be like, "How are you getting on these shows?" And I'm like, I ask a crap ton of people if I can be on their show. And what they don't see is how many times I just get absolutely ignored by so many people. Which is fine. It's fine. They don't know me anything, but it's just like, what are they going to say? Like, no, or fuck off, like block, like, oh no. Like,
that is the worst thing that can happen.
Yeah.
In fact, I personally, because I've been doing it for so many years, I prefer a no over a ghost.
Oh my God, yes.
Right. Like, I'm wasting my time because I keep following up, because that's what
hey, I don't know, but by chance did you see what I mentioned before? Or like you said, hey, you responded, but then you stopped responding, so now I'm just kind of on the hook. Like, just say something.
Just scroll up and reread that real quick. Yeah. Just scroll up.
Yeah, like I've gotten a nah before, and I'm like, awesome, cool. Like that I mean, that's helpful. That's better than just being on, like, I don't know, maybe he might respond,
Right.
But no, you mentioned
you can tell who is on their game with the knocking on doors. Like, I think as far as within the Iron Age or Comicsgate, I think somebody that's done really good for themselves is Aaron Cancinelli or whatever.
Oh, Immortal Rising.
Yeah.
Comics. Yeah.
Like you can tell. Yeah, he knocked on a lot of fucking doors.
Yeah. He did a lot of doors. Not one, but anyway, as he mentioned with the B, when they said like they gave you like too edgy or whatever, it just makes me think how Justin pointed out to us because we're talking about glazing up South Park a lot, and he's like, yeah, they never make fun of Biden, and I'm like, oh my god, no, they've definitely made fun of Biden, and it's like you look at it and like not one joke in the entire time they've been president, vice president, not a single joke from South Park, and I'm like, dude, that's insane.
The obvious play is Mr. Garrison. I know, right? Mr. Garrison goes from being Trump, and then he comes back, and he's Biden. That's the obvious play. Like, do that. There's a ton of material they could have there.
Yep.
They have, they could have done so much. Like, no, it's too easy of a joke.
It's too easy.
Dude, you guys constantly make some fun of stuff that's like on the nose, but you get creative with it and do all these other. That drove me crazy. There's nothing about Biden, nothing about Kamala, and then
really.
Look it up. There's nothing.
I am behind. I have to go back and watch the last.
No, I haven't. I was gonna say I haven't seen like the past couple specials or something, but part of the reason I tapped out was because I'm like, come on, like I love the show because it hits everyone, and it seemed like they were avoiding certain things. I'm like, no, if you guys are playing it safe, I'm out. Like, come on, I love the show.
I checked out.
You hit everyone, which I appreciate. Like, I'm fine with that, but it started feeling like it was teetering in certain directions. I'm like, oh, come on, man.
It seems to me like Matt and Trey Parker are the only people in the fucking world that get like a free pass. Like, I cannot think of anybody that gets as much like
to make fun of
never. I mean,
or
has Left even ever tried canceling them ever?
Right.
Yeah.
Like I don't
think
know.
they have, but yeah.
Yeah, there's been a couple things they had to fight on, but for the most part, I think they're just so big. They got so big and had so many fans and just generated so much revenue for whoever they were working for. And then they have accolades going to like Broadway and all these other avenues that people are just like, they're just going to do their thing. But I think you're right. They are kind of like bulletproof in that sense.
Also still brilliant. I mean, I would still forgive them for not like, for whatever their reasoning, maybe it was because maybe they had like a sense of sympathy because they're like, he's just a geriatric, puppet. Like,
just don't see that.
It's the president. You have to make fun of the president.
Right?
Like, you have to.
Come on.
And then also Kamala. She's too much of a joke
or something.
Just talk about her not going to the border, or like her being like, "Oh, I don't see anything," and then like a bunch of like gang violence and stuff happening in the background.
Like there's obvious jokes, but again, they could have made the play like
it
behind the scenes.
And she's drunk on wine. She's like, "I'm fixing the border."
Brilliant strategists. They're looking at the data and they're like, oh, we have to act like we don't know what's going on. That way we can do all these things behind the scenes. Like, there's so many directions they could have gone in that they just did not. But what was funny is we were like this close to swapping out this week, just pushing it ahead and doing Team America World Police instead.
Oh, you were close to that.
I would love that.
I would have fought harder because I was gonna be like, nah, the Native Americans lost, so that would be the joke. We're gonna put Team America. But they weren't too keen on the idea, and I wasn't. I didn't have the time to push for it.
Yeah, they had the die cast, and it is, it's it's fine, but it's just funny that they came up.
But dude, no, they could have had Kamala's publicist or her like a row of publicists that keep offering themselves because they can't deal with the stress of dealing with Kamala. They're like, no, please just say it right, and she's just chugging wine, and she's like, we're here to make better things like space. Like, have you guys, like, it's crazy.
The expanse of space is so expansive, and that's important because of the expanse. And then
a publicist just like
significant.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things they could have done. So that was sort of like, what? But I guess again, it's the kind of thing where you decide to pull your humor from versus what I guess if they don't touch it, that's power to you because it's more stuff that you can tap into that they're not, and that's an unserved market. And I think there's people there, like people like me. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, it's interesting, and that's the kind of humor that I like to see happening. So,
yeah. we did a bit of making fun of Joe, but to the point of one of our stupidest piece was we did jokes, and we had for a couple of issues just Joe Biden jokes, and they were terrible but also funny. And it was one of my favorite things because I knew Mike Barron was going to hate it. On my live stream, I decided to make him read jokes, and he hates jokes. And so
this is great.
So now that's mine and Mike Barron's relationship. Jokes. Like, I like to make him sigh. He goes.
Did you ever watch the Norm Macdonald? It was called like Norm Macdonald Live, and that was one of the segments. They had jokes on blue cards, and they'd make the guests read them and other people. And some of the jokes were just absolutely
like horrendous stuff.
Like they were duds on purpose, and they'd give them to like Adam Egget so he looked stupid. But sometimes they'd give like wildly offensive jokes to their guests to see what they would do because they're reading them or just bad jokes. And that reminds me of that. And those segments were so funny because the personality of the person reading it factors in. And if you know what you're getting on some level, so that's hilarious. You guys are doing that.
Yeah, not that often, but every once in a while, it's like, okay, because I will say it again. We call ourselves a shit rag for a purpose. I mean, it's a variety entertainment magazine. It is unlikely that any person that receives a magazine is going to love every single page.
Sure.
Because it's a variety magazine, and we're dealing with humor and comedy and all that kind of stuff. So, but you will probably love the good majority of it. Go check us out, flipcitymag.com. Okay, bye, guys.
That was even like the magazine that you show. I think it was the sample one. I was like going through. It was the parody names of different TV shows. And it was like The Woking Dead or something. I'm like, reading some. I'm like, oh, okay, it's kind of funny. I got the Star Trek Picard. It's just like so obvious and so on the nose, but it was also the funniest one. They're like, I just got that one.
It is. It's Star Trek retard.
And the logo's like looks just like it. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So
no, you gotta take a bunch of swings, and you gotta like cater humor to certain audiences. But it's like, if it's a magazine or a book, it's like, well, the audience is gonna pick it up. They're gonna like it or they're not. But you can't filter certain jokes just because one person's not going to like it, But it's interesting, like going on different shows and trying to like meet somebody in like 2 minutes and then try to figure out how to tweak my personality or how to introduce my personality to like, are they going to get my style of humor? Because a lot of people are just like, this guy's wearing a beret and a turtleneck, like. What a weirdo.
I got it immediately.
I know.
It literally is like you just gotta find out who the smart people are.
Yeah. So Battsauce, what was the symbolism behind the beret and the turtleneck and the
well, let me tell you about it. It's to capture my superior intelligence, I have to hinder it from other people to not blind them. Like, when you hear the words of God, it would rupture your ears without proper filtration. So it's a similar thing with the radiance of my brain. So
I understand the turtleneck and the chain, but I would have expected maybe a tri-corner hat or something. The beret's a bold choice. So
that's why you're not the writer and I am. So. You'd be surprised. It's just like people, like, especially it's my Twitter profile. People just don't understand it. It's a joke, and I'll get in fights with people, and then the first thing they always go do is they grab my Twitter profile and they're like, "This guy's making fun of me." And I'm
like,
like,
they don't even know, man.
You don't see it. Like, what? Yeah. It's great. I love it. It's perfect. I'm probably never going to change it.
That's tough. When we talked about humor before, you probably have to try and tap into all these different types of humors whenever you're writing the book too. You got to have like some slapstick. You got to have some like multi-level, multi-tiered jokes. You got to have something that's more like the dad jokes to try and, because humor's tough. I mean, some movies you watch, like we watched Kung Pao a few weeks ago, and some of these guys love that movie. And I was watching it and I couldn't have been more bored. And I feel like that movies, but I mean, it's wildly popular. And it's one of those things, if you're making a movie like that or a book, you got to try and figure out like, okay, how can we maybe check all these boxes for different styles of humor? Because if you're too dependent on just one style, you're missing out on a potential audience.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's exactly that. And I mean, it is very modeled. It's not like this kind of thing hasn't been a thing in the past, you know. So there is a format and kind of a model to kind of borrow from. But at the same time, we've had people that have canceled because they were expecting more Mad than Lampoon, and they're judging it to be, you know, and it's okay, no. We're basically none of those things. It's just kind of a model, you know. We're Flip City Magazine,
right?
You know, like
exactly.
Don't come into it with expectations except for to laugh. And if it doesn't make you laugh, then you know, cancel your subscription or don't come back.
That's why I say it's really important to relate the story or the whatever the product to something that people would know, to kind of give them a idea of what they're getting into. And that's why you say Mad Magazine, because it's not the same. It's definitely not the same humor, but it's close. So it's like you'd have a shared audience. And it's like, you know, the exact same reason why I say it's Office Space. Obviously, I don't have the Office Space jokes in here. There's different humor, but it's close. And so it's like I'm trying to gear into a specific audience. You know, if you like Office Space, there's a better chance you're going to like this. And that's why I always say it's like important to relate it to something that people know, because how else do you convey the story to somebody in such short words?
Right.
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, we also have to be playing to short attention span theater to get somebody's attention to even read your 5-word summary of what you are. It's like, what's like, well, and that's the other thing too. I think that's what we've been compared to the most is Mad Magazine.
Yeah.
So it works.
Yeah, it's unescapable, and also it's just like you'd be pretty retarded to expect the exact same thing as Mad Magazine. Like I'm not, you know, obviously I'm not selling the same thing, you know. It's similar, you know.
Right.
But
actually much funnier, according to my friend.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of like, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say Mike Barron, like, you know, reading his Gooding comic, like he's got some humor in there. Like I got some laughs out of that. He likes a good joke.
Oh, Florida Man, dude, that's hilarious.
Oh, Florida Man! When I first put my book up on a comic shop Wednesday, not this one, the other one, it went up against, you know, I won somebody's vote, but it went up against Florida Man, and that trailer played, and I'm like, there's no way I'm beating that. What?
Yeah.
That was like, I haven't bought it. I want it. It looks hilarious.
Yeah, one thing about Mike too that I've seen a handful of interviews with him is that he has a sense of humor, but he also likes projects that take themselves seriously. And even if it is taking the humor seriously, you can't be flippant about what you're doing. You have to be dedicated and actually care about your craft and all that sort of thing too. And that comes through in his books. That was even like Justin Belmont's Smokes the Fox that he worked on with Mike Barron. And I saw the premise, you know, it's a dope smoking fox. I thought it was just going to be a silly time the whole time. And there's some jokes in there, but there's like a story in there, and you can see him taking it seriously as a story and not just being a throwaway, like dumb, you know, stoner comedy, because it's so much deeper than that. I was like reading, I'm like, holy crap, there's like conspiracy theory stuff, and there's like subplots going on, and they're dropping breadcrumbs of what's gonna happen next. I'm like, wow, okay. So
I'm 100% on back with that logic, and like that was with my book. And again, that's why I try to emphasize with people, because I keep talking about how funny it is, but I'm like, no, but there's a story in here. And like I'm writing a comedy with a story. I'm like, well, I'm not going to half-ass any aspect of this. So if it's going to have a story, I'm going to try to write the best story in there. I'm not going to just focus on the jokes. But there's also something to say. It's like, yeah, whatever you're working on, your product, like, take that seriously. Don't take yourself too seriously.
Yeah, I think that's a fun way to put it. You got to keep the levity in there, and I think that helps draw people in. Whenever you're writing your book, were you looking to incorporate any certain types of symbolism for any reason, or is it something that, like, do you plan it in advance? Like, I need to have this in here because this represents this, and this ties in either book.
Well,
or is it just like I'm writing this book? It's its own thing.
No, I mean, well, the symbolism much more for like serious tone things. More thematic things. There's a lot of things that tie into the theme of the story, which is sloth, laziness, indecision, or whatever the word is. So there's things that tie into that. Like, I mean, I made my dwarves rock people, so they're made of rock. So you think that they don't move much. So that ties into the theme of being lazy or sloth, because there's a stereotype about dwarves in the story, and they call the main character a dwarf. Now there's no dwarfs in that city, so they don't have like an actual idea. It's their prejudice. They're made with rock. They must be lazy, so we call them a dwarf. But yeah, that's tied in. Now there is some symbolism in the book. I can't really remember exactly what it is, because I put this comedy inside a much bigger world I have built for other stories I have, because basically this comedy takes place in the future of what my other fantasy stories are going to take place in, which are very serious tone stuff. So I have a whole mythos, and there's gods. I even hinted like some of the three devils in there. So there is aspects of symbolism, but it's more in reference to the serious aspects of the lore into the world.
Gotcha. I like whenever I write lyrics and stuff, I just fly by the seat of my pants kind of. I have like kind of like these like themes or something, but I'm not necessarily like I need to intertwine this kind of symbolism in there. I don't know. I try to make it, I guess, stand just on what it is. And maybe I'd benefit from having that deeper level stuff. I know AC is very much into the symbolism and incorporating that. Is that the kind of thing? Is that like you seek it out beforehand, or as you're writing it, you're like, oh, this is perfect? I feel like you're the kind of guy, you probably do all the research first. You're like, pulling from this and pulling from that, and
you can get a lot out of just things that you love, right? So like I really like how epic like some of like mythology from other cultures can be. So one of my good go-tos is just pick a badass character from mythology, look at some stuff about it. Turns out most of them have really badass themes involved with them. And then you can like take those themes and the visual appearance of the character and some other aspects and just start peppering them in on a character early on. And people who know about like Anubis will pick up on like some aspects of it and be like, dude, that kind of sounds like like he's describing him like Anubis. And it can be like really powerful foreshadowing if that person goes on to do some Anubis
God of
stuff.
Death.
Yeah.
Is that person going to die, or is somebody random going to die?
Yes, exactly. Like a guardian of the afterlife. Like, yeah, they don't necessarily need to like kill somebody, but like maybe somebody like close to them dies or something, depending on how zoomed out your story is.
Yeah. But, like I said, more serious books. So Dawn Edge is just layered with symbolism, because there's a very huge Christian biblical type of symbols and everything intertwined in here. A lot of Dante's and trilogy, because I'm not just going to say Inferno, it's the trilogy. Well, like everybody forgets about Purgatorio and Paradiso, which are just as interesting as Inferno, but people don't know about Inferno.
They forget unless you're around.
Exactly, yeah. But I mean, it's like just the cover, right? We have an eye, which eye is symbolic of a lot of things. In this case, it's basically God, and so there's a giant city over, North America. So it's like this is George over the continent, the country. So it's, and like in the first couple sentences I say, like what do I say? How do I get to the first page? God wasn't born; it was manufactured. Talking about George, like it's basically is what everybody perceives as God. They've replaced a spiritual God with a manufactured God.
Right. Do you try to smack people in the face with the symbolism, or do you try to leave it in there so it's there only if you really know to look for it, or is it?
No, you really got to figure out a way not to smack people in the face with it, otherwise you get this. And I got I'm sorry, I never get to talk this book because it's just like I'm doing spoiler stuff here, right? And it's like, so I put this is George's symbol. It's all over the book as a time spacer. So I describe it in the beginning, and I say it's three circles, and the outer circle is just covered with 8 eyes. The 8 eyes represent the virtues that George has put in. That's obvious. But the 3 circles, it's like, well, why 3 circles? I say it kind of looks like an eye. I throw red herring a little bit with that, but it's like in Dante's Paradiso, God is described as 3 rings, and so I'm basically made George's symbol of what God is described as. Yeah.
So in the book, it's kind of got
Symbolism.
its own thing, but then it's also got these tie-ins if you have the deeper level. So it's kind of, I mean, in a way, you're trying to do the same thing as you do with comedy, where you're trying to tap into different levels.
Absolutely.
So that depending on who the reader is, you can appeal to people that are just reading it. Maybe it's the first book they ever read and they don't even know about anything else. They can find the symbolism within the contained story, enjoy it on that level. But then for the people that have read all this other stuff, they're like, oh, actually, like the ACs of the world, they're like, hang on a second. Hang on.
Yeah.
Well, even like Dawn Edge. Why'd I pick Dawn?
That is a good question.
Right. Because Lucifer is described to you as the morning star, Dawn.
Or the light bringer.
The light bringer, yeah. So like
both of them.
Yeah, whenever like dawn is used in books, like a lot of times authors will like use that as descriptive or whatever because they're referring to something about Lucifer.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
gotcha.
I do think. But you would hate this book, Justin.
I have it. I'm going to read it at some point. It's on my list. I'm going to get to it at some point.
You describe him like you would hate this. You would hate how it ends. You would be like,
"Oh no!
But why? Why do you have to do that? You're the author."
Well, you'll hear it from me at some point, and actually, since we've already had the conversation now, I won't even have to bring it. I'll be like, "Yep, you were right," and that'll be that. You called it. You know me.
Chrissy, literally, if like there's sad things in the story, he'll be like, "I hate it. I don't get it. Why is there sad?" Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's depending. Like some stuff, like if you're in control of the world, I'm like, you can. It's sort of like this. Okay, you're in control of what you eat. Like, let's say you can have anything. You have a personal chef; they'll make you anything. And I'm like, you just have a delicious, like, steak every night for dinner. And people are like, no. Sometimes I just want to have like a plate of grass. It's like, why? You could have steak every night. And they're like, no, I need to eat something that tastes bad. Occasionally, I just want to eat something that's terrible, that I hate, that makes me feel sad. I'm like, why? I don't understand. So maybe I'm just so emotionally shallow and callous that I'm like, just give me sugar. Like, life is difficult. I want my entertainment to just be like pure vanilla
sugar.
and steak. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
I like
that.
It is
sad stuff.
Like, that's kind of shocking. I've never heard of anybody that doesn't like, a little grit and drama, like through entertainment. Whoa.
Just like a little bit, but let's keep it, on the lower end. If you would have got to put a sprig of something green on my steak, fine. Or like some mushrooms, fine. But I want the steak. Give me the steak.
I'm gonna win them over, y'all.
Well, I'm happy that I got to learn how much of a weirdo you are tonight.
Oh yeah, I am. I shock and surprise people that have known me for. Even these guys every week, they're like, he might love this, he might hate it. I have no idea. He's unpredictable because his tastes are so bizarre.
But guys, we need to wrap this up. It's about that time.
Mm-hmm.
Heavily Music. Where can we find you? What are you working on?
I am working on a couple songs. Like I mentioned earlier in the show, I'm doing another one with Chill Kid. We got this thing that'll be going out at some point. Some lucky fans will be able to get their hands on a couple of those. Working on a song with him. Working on one with I think it's okay to say. Working on one. Well, maybe it's not. For another author. And then after that, getting back to my own stuff, I think at some point. But all my music currently is available, all streaming platforms, Apple Music, Spotify, wherever you listen to music, as well as Bandcamp. And then, of course, Friday nights, I co-host Iron Age Nights with Daniel P. Riley and Royce from A Drink with Crazy. Also on Shadiversity's Night Watch now, which is pretty cool. Oh, and that's on
Everybody
A Drink
knows you
with...
never go full retard.
That's for Royce.
And then, that's on A Drink with Crazy Live. So that's on Friday nights where we also talk to indie creators and interview them and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah.
A.C. Got anything you want to say before we get off?
As I mentioned at the beginning, I have Thanksgiving release, the Necromancer EP. Perfect timing with your Necromancer video. Shout outs to that.
Oh yeah, that's what a coincidence.
I know, right? Basically, for everybody listening, this EP, I wrote it in the time it took me and Bryant to write one song throughout October. I wrote a whole album on my own on the side, just in the in-between time. And it's basically to see how I can do recording everything on my own going forward, and it went pretty good. I'm going to release it all for free on YouTube, and hopefully that boosts stuff up, help us get to 1,000 subscribers, empty my lungs on YouTube. Once that happens, all of our music will be monetarily connected, if that makes sense, because YouTube is the only place where we're unguarded, so to speak, because we're not monetized yet. But look forward to like a nice horror themed horror themed album written, around Halloween time. It's all about coming back from the dead, and I got Jared Christman on the first track I'm going to release. It's called From Ashes.
That's a good one.
Check that out, and look forward to consistent releases for the foreseeable future, because like I'm able to just do it all myself now, which is pretty cool. Never been able to do that.
All right.
Plus,
Nice.
our Justin over here, he's going to be on one too, just so you guys know.
Cool.
We have things
Long
coming.
overdue.
We have
Long
things
overdue.
coming soon.
Yes.
Soon.
I have been wanting to talk
we
about
just hit
that
100
one thing.
subscribers, but we have things coming.
Yeah.
We're going to be legit.
That's
That
right.
one thing I spent way
We
too much
matter.
time
We're
working,
important.
right?
You haven't lost that subscriber yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, well, give it
I
time.
gotta refresh.
Give it time.
Tomorrow morning, I'm sure.
But that thing that we that I spent way too much time on and had to fix constantly. I can't wait to talk about that thing.
Yeah.
Yep. Just so
Christy, what you got going on?
Go to flipcitymag.com to learn basically everything that you need to know about Flip City Magazine, including reading a free magazine. I just encourage anybody, check us out, check out the free magazine. It's free, damn it. And if you really, really like it and want a longer sample, you can always give us your email to get that. And one other cool thing that I keep forgetting to do, even though I promised them I would do this, we're the Diamond catalog. Like, we have distribution now. And we are in the November catalog. That's our first appearance. So if you are a comic book store visiting type of person, go tell your retailer about it. Tell them that you can find Flip City Magazine on page 313 of the Diamond catalog, and order it for the store, because all their clientele will love it and just want to go buy it. So I have to do that. You guys go find us in Diamond.
All right. Well, everybody, it's my thing. I got a video coming out tomorrow. Talk about necromancy and how that's involved with story writing. Check that out. We also have a video talking about orcs and are they evil? I don't know. Probably not. Tomorrow on the Iron Seas channel. Check that out as well. I might go live tomorrow too. I don't know. Maybe. I got a really good video to EFAP for that. So I don't know. Check it out, I guess, if I do it. We got things working in with some merchy stuff that's working in the pipeline, and I got a book, Tale of the Dunce Whisperer, which I think we factually proved that it's the best book ever written. It's going to be the best experience. I mean, who needs sex? You got Tale of the Dunce Whisperer, right? If you had a chance, if you could pay $1 or $2.99, and you could talk with God, you can have a conversation with God, would you not pay $2.99? Instead, just buy my book for $2.99. It's pretty much the exact same thing. Later, guys. I don't know what's about to play, but all right. Good night, guys. This has been the Iron Seas. Later.